Hi guys, welcome to my history podcast. Today's topic is talking about the Dust Bowl and the grasshopper plague and the jackrabbit plague. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn because this is gonna be a treat. You may be asking, what was the Dust Bowl? The Dust Bowl was the drought that struck the southern plains. Because of the drought, deadly dust storms took over the area from Texas to Nebraska in the 1930s. This was basically the major impact of the Great Depression. There was no crops, no animals, and no sense of income because of the dust. These dust storms were also known as black blizzards because the dust was so thick it blocked out any sunlight. This next clip, FDR is on one of his famous fireside chats. He talks about the Dust Bowl and what he saw and visited. He went and saw families and land during this time, and he wanted to report about the horrible conditions of the states Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska.
Stock kept alive only because water had been brought to them long distances in tank cars. I saw other farm families who have not lost everything, but who, because they have made only partial crops, must have some form of help if they are to continue farming next spring. I shall never forget the fields of wheat, so blasted by heat that they cannot be harvested. I shall never forget field after field of corn, stunted, earless, stripped of leaves, for what the sun left, the grasshoppers took.
What I really wanted to talk about was the last thing FDR said in his fireside chat. He said, for what the sun left, grasshoppers took over. To elaborate on that, as Mother Nature brought dust, it also brought jackrabbits and grasshoppers. People would call this the grasshopper plague. They called it the grasshopper plague because there were more grasshoppers than humans and more jackrabbits than humans. Jackrabbits and grasshoppers destroyed everything in their way. They destroyed crops, killed animals, basically just making farmers and their families' life so miserable, and it made living conditions go down by a lot, and survival was very hard at this time. Adding on to that, grasshoppers would also invade homes and eat items such as clothing, towels, beds, curtains, and all around any household items. Moving on to the next subject is the jackrabbits. Jackrabbits, just like grasshoppers, flooded the population of the 6 states, but most importantly, it really hit hard on western Kansas. But they thought of an idea called jackrabbit drives. In the next audio that I'm about to play, I will be showing a man reporting a jackrabbit drive and telling you all the information and rundown of the event and how a jackrabbit drive is performed.
Rabbit drive, and more than 98,000 men, women, and children took part in staging 269 drives, and the average kill was 923 rabbits per drive. The accepted plan of the campaign was to assemble the multitude at a given point and then to spread out in a great encircling line over predetermined sections of land and to press forward and at the same time drawing together, driving everything before them into pens that had been erected on an open plot of ground. Work relief projects were approved for the erection of the pens and for their removal from one location to another and for driving the jacks. Counties sponsoring the drives furnished all necessary materials for the fences and pens, and foremen to supervise the construction and removal.
To elaborate on the subject and give a deeper understanding of what a jackrabbit drive was, it was to help get rid of some jackrabbits in western Kansas. Farmers were not able to use guns or any of their bullets because of the depression going on. If you used the bullets, you couldn't buy more, or it was just an effort to save it. So in this case, farmers and women with their children, would go into cars and trap these jackrabbits by driving them in or chasing them on foot into these enclosed pen areas that either the community helped build or the government either pitched in money to help pay for. They would enclose them in these small, tight areas with these fences and attack them with pots, pans, and car horns. This impacted the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression greatly because farmers and their families saw this as a way to provide for themselves. The jackrabbits were used as a food, a meat, a protein for the family, and since there were so many of the jackrabbits and they got so many that they hunted, they had a lot of food supply. So this helped provide for the new settlers and the people in western Kansas in the 1930s during the Dust Bowl that had survived. People in western Kansas and other areas felt like this was a huge step on surviving this Dust Bowl by even having a nice food supply. They had hope that they were going to survive this and life was going to be better. In conclusion to what I was saying, the rabbit drives helped improve the area's economy during the hardest time in United States history. And the battle of survival versus the farmers was suddenly being overtaken by the farmers with the help of their families. In my podcast, I'd just like to say that the grasshoppers and jackrabbits hurt the economy and ruined chances of survival to nothing. But soon, the problem became the solution, and the economy plus lives were saved because of the huntings and killings of these rabbits for food or for profit. Grasshoppers went away with time, reporters from the Dust Bowl said, but life for the farmers and their families were looking better because of the money and food they were getting from killing these jackrabbits.
Thank you for listening to my podcast about the grasshopper and jackrabbit plague during the Dust Bowl. Hope to see you again and have a great day.